Chesamid base. I'll begin Chesamid Aleph, the third wide line at the two dots. V'amar v'chia bar ami mishmei de'ula godol hanena megia kappa yosem yir shamayim. It's greater one who is nena megia kappa, he's self-sufficient. He does not rely on others for his parnasa. He is greater than the yir shamayim who comes onto the tzibur who has to rely on others. A person who's used to receive Ashi Yaras Hashem. It has an additional bracha. The one who is a Yorish Shemaim and also is Nenemigia Kapai. He's not dependent on others. He has this additional bracha of Ashrecha v'Toivlach. Ashrecha b'olam hazeh v'Toivlach lo'olam haba. U'legabe Yorish Shemaim v'Toivlach like Sibbe, it does not have this additional bracha. Another member that he said, a person should live, he should dwell in the place where his Rebbe, if he's there nearby his Rebbe will influence him, admonish him if need be, so he should always live in the place nearby his Rebbe. As long as he was alive, so he was Shlomo Melech's Rebbe, and he had the influence of Shlomo Melech that prevented him. He did not marry Bas Pari. But after he was Nifter, that's when he did. We learn in the Bryce Al Yoder, he should not live in the place of his Rebbe. It seems to be a stira. It depends if he's going to listen to his Rebbe or not. If he's going to listen to his Rebbe will be able to influence him. He should live close to his Rebbe. But if he's not going to, rather he should be a shaygig and not a mazid, and therefore better not to live by his Rebbe, because then if his Rebbe gives him musar and teichachai, he'll be a mazid for not listening. Omar Rav Huna Bar Yehuda, Omar Rav Menachem, Rav Ami Maidachsi, v'oiz Hashem yichlu. What does it mean, those who leave Hashem? That those who leave Hashem, that they will be destroyed, and though they will not have a kiyum. So what are those who leave Hashem? Who are we referring to? When the Sefer Torah is open, they're laying in the Sefer Torah, a person goes out of shul, that's considered Oizvei Hashem. He used to leave, when he had to leave, it was between Gavra and Gavra. So when they weren't laning between the Aliyahs, that's when he left. What about leaving right between the end of the pasuk before they start the next pasuk? Can he leave at that point? Teku, that's a teku. Roshesh mahadra ape v'goras. Roshesh is turned around and he used to learn. So they were learning laning Kriyas HaTorah, and he turned around and he used to learn. Omar anan b'didan v'inu b'didu. I'm doing Isaac and what I'm Isaac, and they're Isaac and what they're Isaac in. Which seems to be a Pella, and Tosfos points out that the Gemara says when the Sefer Torah is opened that you cannot talk and anything else. So he says that the Gemara is discussing you cannot disturb the people. But over here, if he turned around, and as Tosfos points out, we're talking where there was a minyan, a Sora, at least a Sora, who were listening to the Sefer Torah, the Kriyas HaTorah, and if he's not disturbing, then it would be permitted. Others say Rav Sheshes was a Saginor, he was blind, so therefore he was permitted. But really there revolves in this whole area over here a discussion, and it's brought down in the Paiskim, and Shabur brings it down at length, whether the Chi of Kriyas HaTorah is a Chayv on the Tzibur or a Chayv on the Yochid. If it's a Chayv on the Yochid, then presumably we would have to be talking when he was already Yoitze his Kriyas HaTorah, and since there was a minyan without him, and he was not needed for the minyan, and he was not disturbing, it would be permitted. If the Chayv is on the Tzibur and not on the Yochid, then it perhaps would be permitted even if he did not listen to hear the Kriya yet. But if it's a Chayv on the Yochid, he has his own personal Chayv to hear Kriyas HaTorah. So Rav Sheshes, if he was a Saginor, that would explain it. But otherwise, it would have to be talking where he already had heard the Kriya before. So Omar Rav Huna Bar Yehuda Amar Rav Amin La'olam Yashlem Adam Parshiyos V'Matzibur Shnai Mikra V'Chatar. So we're discussing now Kriyas Utayra. So we have the halacha, the mitzvah that a person has to be Maver Sedra Shnai Mikra V'Chatargam with the tzibur. So he has to review it twice, reading the pasuk, once with the targum with the tzibur. And even the words Atoras V'Divim, which are names of places, which Rashi says don't really have a targum, so therefore, according to Rashi, it just means that you have to say it over. It has to be recited 3 times. Tesis learns differently. He learns that there's a targum in Yerushalmi, but Afilo Atoras V'Divim, it has to be Shnai Mikra V'Achat Targum. A person who does this, then he will have long life. He'll be benched with Arichos Yomim. So he thought that he would chaperine Erev Yom Kippur, and he would be mashlim all the parshas that are missing, that were missing from the year. He'd do it on Erev Yom Kippur. However, it says that the fasting, the affliction on Yom Kippur is Betisha L'Chodesh Be'erev. Is Yom Kippur on the 9th of Tishrei? It's not on the 9th of Tishrei. We fast on the 10th of Tishrei. Why does it say Betisha B'Chodesh Be'erev on the 9th of the month? It comes to teach you that if a person eats and drinks on the 9th month, on the 9th day of the month, so even though he's really eating in the fast is on the 10th. On the 9th day, he's on Erev Yom Kippur, he's eating and drinking, but it says Mis'ana, it says V'nisam as nafshisechem b'tshi. On the 9th, it's Malal Avakos Kilo Mis'ana Shiva Siri. It's considered like he was fasted, and he's fasted on the 9th and the 10th, and as Tosis points out, and it's considered as if there was a tzivua, he was commanded to fast on the 9th and the 10th, and he fasted on the 9th and the 10th. So, however, Lagabe Ar Inyan, how can he be Isaac in the entire Erev Yom Kippur to be Mashlam Parshi Yoisa? We have to be Isaac in the Hachanas of Yom Kippur and eating and drinking. So you can't. So therefore, that wasn't an eight. So Savar Lakdamina. So he thought perhaps to do it in advance. Meaning, for whatever reason, it was difficult to do it with the tzibur every week, to be Mashlam the Parshas Shavu with the tzibur. He thought to do it in advance when he had an opportune time, to do it in advance and be Maver the Seder at that time. However, no, you can't do it earlier, you can't do it later, you have to do it with the tzibur. When the tzibur starts laning that parsha, so from Mincha on Shabbos, then they start laning the upcoming week's Parshas Shavua, and that from that point on until the following Shabbos, that's when he should be Maver the Seder. Kedamar Rav Yeshua ben Levi Lebenei, like he told the son, Ashlimu Parshu Eisaycha Matzibur Shnai Mikra V'Echat Targum. Yevimash with the Tzibur Shnai Mikra V'Echat Targum. That's 1/8 so that he told his sons V'Hizaro. The second one is V'Hizaro B'Varidin. Be careful with the blood vessels. Rav Yehuda, the son of Rav Yehuda, Omer Achi Yishchades Varidin, that you have to be Mitzi the dam. So therefore, by shechting a bird, it's, as Rashi points out, it's roasted sometimes whole without cutting it up into pieces, etc., and salting it. You have to cut the jugular veins, according to many Mefarshim, that's what it means, to be mitzi, to drain out the blood. Another eitzah that he gave him was Zara Bezakin Sheshaf Talmuda Machmas Einsa. Be careful with the covet of a Talmud Chacham, that for sickness or whatever einus, that he forgot his learning. So he was a big Talmud Chacham, and currently he forgot much of his learning because of an einus, whether it's sickness or parnos or whatever. Be careful with this covet. We have in the Aron HaKodesh were the luchos, but also the shivrei, the broken luchos, were also in the Aron. Even though now they're broken, but they were the luchos, so they were treated with covet. A Talmud Chacham, even though currently he may not be at that level, he still has to be treated with covet. So going further with eitzes that were given to the sons, he says, so when you cut meat, don't cut it on your hand. Put it on the table and cut it, not on your hand, because it's a sakana. He might, in the process, be cutting his hand as well. Ikadam mishum sakana, but ikadam mishum kilkul suda. Some say not so much the sakana, but because it might ruin the suda, because if he injures his hand, even in a slight way, and it starts to bleed, it'll make the suda miyas. So therefore, don't do it on your hand. Va'al teishu, another eight says, Va'al teishu al mitas aramis. Don't sit on the bed of an aramis, of a goy. Another eight says, Va'al tavro achori beisa kaneses b'shah shah tzibur mispavul. And don't walk in back of the shul when the tzibur is davening. Now the Gemara will explain. Va'al teishu al mitas aramis. Don't sit on the bed of an aramis. The Gemara explains, Ikadam aloi tigna b'aloi krishma. Some say it means, it doesn't mean literally on the bed of an aramis. Means don't go to bed like a goya. Don't go to bed without reciting Krishma. V'ikadamra like the nasvagiyart. V'ikadamra means don't marry a giyoris. They were kahanim, so they were not permitted to marry giyoris. V'ikadam aramis mamish. And some say it means literally don't sit on the bed of an aramis. Omishum Maisa the Rapapa, because of the following Maisa. The Rapapa Azalagabi Aramis, so Rapapa lent money to an Aramis. He came for repayment, to get the loan repaid. So Haizila Mita, they brought her to bed, and Amra Lai shave. And she said, sit on the bed, sit and wait while we bring the money. Amra Lai Yeni Yeshivat Shadagbiya Samita. He says, I'm not going to sit down until you pick up the bed. Higbiya Samita, Matza Shamtinik Mace. And they found under the bed a tinuk that died, was dead. It's brought down that the Maisa was that they really wanted to blame Rapapa for killing the child. They had the dead tinuk under the bed. They told him to sit down, and then they were going to be Maitzi Shemra that he killed the child, and this way they would not have to repay the money. So from here we learn that don't sit on the meat of aramis. You have to be very careful when any type of socializing with the goyim, and be very careful for many reasons, but one reason is as well as because of what they might be planning and plotting. And the other teitz was Val Tavra Achrei Beis HaKnesses B'shah Shetzibur Mispalim. Don't walk behind the shul when the tzibur is davening. Messiah Lever Yishu ben Levi. It's a riot of Yishu ben Levi. Damar Yishu ben Levi. Also Leila Adam Shiavar Achrei Beis HaKnesses B'shah Shetzibur Mispalim. It's also to pass behind the shul when they're davening. If he passes by the shul when they're davening, then it appears like he's rejecting their tefillah. They're davening. He's going away. So he should not pass behind them. But that's only said if there's no other Pesach, there's no other entrance. Because if there's another entrance, people say, okay, he's not going in this way, he's going in the other way. So it does not appear like he is rejecting the tefillah. It's also mentioned only if there's no other shul. But if there's another shul in town, let's not bother, because people might think, okay, he's going to the other shul to daven. It's also mentioned only if he's not carrying a heavy load. Because if he is, people say, well, the reason he's not going to shul is because he's Isaac and his parnos, or he has an affair to take care of right now, this matter to take care of, and that's why he's not going in, not because he's Chas v'Shalom rejecting the tefillah. And he's not running. If he's running, people will say, oh, he has some emergency. When he's not wearing tefillin. Now, if he's wearing tefillin, obviously he's accepting the yoke, he's accepting Ol Malchus Shamayim, so he's not rejecting the tefillin. If any one of these circumstances are present, then this is not mentioned, because it's clear that he's not rejecting the tefillah of the rabbi. For three reasons, I find favor in their customs. When they cut the meat, like we mentioned, not on their hands, but on the table. When they kiss, they do it on the hand and not on the face. It's more hygienic, it's more dignified to do it on the hand. When they want to say something in private and give advice, they only do it in the field. They don't do it in a place where it can be overheard. Where do we see that something in private should be mentioned in the field and not indoors? When he wanted to discuss with him about leaving Lavan, he called them out to the field to discuss it, not inside, because it might have been overheard if he was indoors. Tanya Rabban Gamliel talking again about three things where they found favor was found in their eyes with the customs of others. Three reasons he likes the Persians. They're tzanua in their modest in their eating. In their relations, in the marital relations, they are tzanuim. So they were commanded. The Navi says that Rabbi Shem commanded the designated ones to destroy Bavel, who were machva the Beis Hamikdash. Now the appointed ones are coming now to punish Bavel. These are the Persians which conquered Bavel. They were called Mekudoshim, Muzumonim leGehenim, that they themselves are Muzumonim, Mekudoshim for Gehenim. They are Rishayim. Now, even though they're Rishayim, but nevertheless, they were said with three things. Rabban Gamliel said, and three things their customs found favor in his eyes.